Welcome to the Blueprint Athletes Basketball Podcast. My name's Josh Horford. I'm here today with John Horford.
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
Is that your best impersonation of me?
Yeah, my bad.
Nice. I was going to do an impersonation of you, but I was just going to keep regular voices and switch the names because I promised that I would do something different for every intro of you. Wait till you hear the next episodes. It's really good.
Great.
It's fantastic.
Well, I can't wait.
I know. I'm excited too. So today we want to talk about the Blueprint Athletes app, right? It's the Blueprint Athletes Basketball Podcast. We haven't really done a great job or gone into detail in explaining, what Blueprint Athletes is, why we started it, what it's all about. So we just wanted to take one episode and just break it down a little bit more, just to help people have a deeper understanding of what the Blueprint Athletes app is, why we started it, and how it can help. So I guess the best place to start is, just why, I started the Blueprint Athletes app. And the reason I started the Blueprint Athletes app was mostly because I was in my off season working with, what's that, be good?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
No, I dropped my phone.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're good. So I started the Blueprint Athletes app because I saw so many kids, like when I was training the kids in my off season, you included, you and your friends, so many kids that just lacked basic basketball fundamentals.
And no structure.
Right? They had no structure. You just watch them. If you didn't tell them what to do, they'd go into the gym and just do nonsense. Without any rhyme or reason. It kind of looked like they were just like playing like an imaginary basketball game, which is fine. I've gone into the gym and pretend like I was playing someone one-on-one and worked on certain moves, but it was more like they were just trying to look sweet, or half the time, I swear, it's like universal. They just ended up like chucking up half-court shots or like crazy one-leg fadeaways from threes, and just super off balance, super non-structured. So I started asking kids why do you go in and just do like nonsense type stuff? And I wasn't just asking like young kids. I was asking like even college players and pro players, because a lot of them just go in and kind of just like mess around, screw around, and it's a little bit different when you're on that higher level because you're getting that constant structure through practice and through skill development that's being implemented by your coaches or, the training staff. But I asked, and, on every level, it was kind of just like, I don't know what to do. There are certain things I can come in and work on, but I'm kind of I get into the gym and, I just
don't have a plan or anything.
I don't have a plan. I just do whatever comes to my head kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, I don't really see too much out there that's providing, structure for players, especially in a progressive way that helps them build on, fundamental skill versus just going out there and just being super gimmicky with everything and, needing, cones or heavy balls or mats or whatever it might be. I was just like, I just want players to be able to get better with just a basketball if need be, right? Or just a basketball and a hoop, like nothing extra, right? To think the game, to understand the game, to, know why they're doing what they're doing and to just, focus more. So I started putting together the Blueprint Athletes app, and I was like, if I'm going to do this right, I really feel like I need to, add the strength conditioning component to it as well. I guess before I go to the strength conditioning component, so I decided to, I've always been like a big like workout guy, huge like big workout, almost like a junkie type thing, right? So I had a ton of drills and workouts just through the years written down, in my notes and stuff, not really in a structured or organized way, but just like, hey, I really like doing this, or this really helped me, and I just wrote them all down. So I started taking all of that, and I started thinking about, drills I did when I was playing with, Michigan. So Coach Beeline, or, threw in some stuff I got from Florida from Billy Donovan, threw in some stuff I got when I was doing the Dominican national team stuff with Coach Calipari, threw in stuff that I'd been doing, in the pros at the time. I was in Canton at the time, so I hadn't been to Grand Rapids yet. So just putting all of these drills together, being like, so what on these levels that all these kids are aspiring to get to and so few ever get to, what are people doing, right? And the vast majority of it is from Michigan, right? Because it's so fundamental based. And the crazy thing is that I'll literally get kids to this day that'll be like, oh man, like even the advanced stuff is too easy for me. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Send me a video of you doing like one drill. And it's just like so horrible. Horrible.
Yeah.
I'm just like, just because you can kind of go through it doesn't mean that you're ready for it.
Right.
Right? So the beginner stuff for the most part is a lot of stuff like, and people will be like, oh my God, no way. Like at Michigan, we used to do the stuff that's like on the beginner guides in the Blueprint Athletes app.
Mm-hmm.
We used to do that stuff all the time, like basic pivoting and passing and fake a pass, make a pass, and land on two, finishing layups, like exaggeration with, the land on two, and just very, very things that most players think are below them. Like, oh, I'm too good for this. And it's just, you're not too good for it,
Mm-hmm.
right? You don't, most of the time, 9 out of 10 times, you do not have it mastered, even if you think you do, right? Especially for, the middle school kids, high school kids. I mean, kids can, it's just, I guess it's just human nature. Like, they can get delusional in, what they think they can do. Like, it's amazing how many times, I've been like, okay, take 2 dribbles from the 3-point line, land on 2 and finish the layup. And, like, a kid can't. They don't know how to land on 2.
Mm-hmm.
Or they can't land with balance and they're falling forward, like super up. And it's just like, but you think that you're ready to start working on, like, crazy, like, combinations and counters and all that.
Right.
Like, you need to build up your foundation gradually. So pulling these drills from these great coaches for the most part, and some of the drills there's a couple of drills on there that, I hadn't really seen until I had, put them into place, and, and I'll label those like correctly, but it's one of those things where you put it together and you think like, hey, like there's so many kids that want to get to this level, and these are drills that are used by coaches at the level that 99% of kids, maybe more than that, will never get to.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So you would think like it would be an easy connect, like, oh, if I can master these drills, or if I can really put in the time to getting these down, it's going to make me so much better. That's not necessarily the case at all, right? It's almost been a 3-year, almost 3 years? Has it almost been 3 years or 2 years? I don't know. The time is
not real.
It's not. It's just, it's all over the place. But it's been a while, right? So, and what we found is it is not the case at all. And there could be a lot of reasons why it's not the case. And I guess we can go into that deeper in like another episode maybe. But a lot of players, even if I tell them like, okay, like that's your dream school of playing for, great. Like these are the drills that these coaches are going to have you do at your dream school.
Mm-hmm.
Like, imagine if you were fantastic at these, you started mastering them when you were a freshman, you had them down by the time you were a senior.
Right.
Like, how much further ahead would you be, right? How impressed would they be that you know that stuff? But at the same time, how many kids are actually willing to put in the time to get better, right? Especially when they don't have somebody, telling them right there verbally what to do and constantly correcting them. So there's a huge level of, self-accountability.
Yeah.
Right? Or if you train with friends, accountability towards each other. So, like, I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to make sure that you're doing it right? We're not just going to go through the motions. We're going to do it right. And as I say on every single drill, start slow and increase speed as comfort increases, right? So even if you have to walk through the drill, but you're doing it correctly, but you're moving at a snail's pace, that is better than going all out and just doing it horribly,
All right.
right? Start slow, increase speed as comfort increases. You have to have a certain level of patience to adopt that mantra into your life. But if you want to do things correctly and to get better, I feel that it's one of the most beneficial, right, that you can adopt. So from there, adding the basketball component to everything, I was like, I mean, for performance sake, you need, proper strength conditioning. So I added on, I called my old strength coach at the University of Michigan, John Sanderson, he was pretty much like a big brother to me. We always had a great relationship, spent a ton of time together, and he was all in, right? So he saw the need for it, he saw the benefit. So then I got him to put together, off season and in season guides for the app, and he's actually put together a lot more content that I haven't released onto the app yet. Maybe by the time this releases, it will be out. But there's a bunch of stuff that he's adding. But right now he has, basically like a year's worth of strength conditioning content on the app, if not more than that, probably more than that. But it's just basketball based, like strength conditioning, like no gimmicks, no bullshit.
Right.
Just like, this is what you need to be better, a more explosive, dynamic, balanced athlete. Like, you will get stronger, you will get better. And the funny thing is, going through that stuff, when I was going through and putting them into the app and just, recording the videos and all that, dude, it's almost like all the same stuff we did when we were at Michigan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Like,
it's literally like, if you could master that stuff or get that stuff down, like, you would literally be doing what you would be doing if you had a full ride or if you were on the University of Michigan basketball team.
right.
Like why someone wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like, why a kid wouldn't see that and be like, man, like, that's such an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
It is such an advantage. It's a huge advantage, right? To take that seriously and to better yourself. And obviously it's going to take time. And obviously you're not going to be that good at it in the beginning, but like anything, you just have to stick with it and you're going to get better. You're going to improve. You're going to get stronger. I guarantee it. If you do it right and you follow the guides, right, you're going to improve, period. Right? So then from there, we put that stuff on. And then we started hearing kids talk about like, yeah, it's great, but, I don't always have access to a weight room or blah, blah, blah. So then I'm like, okay, I need to add at-home strength conditioning. So from there, I contacted Mike Morrison, who is one of the Atlanta Hawks' former strength coaches. Super smart guy. Me and him, we had a really good relationship, and we had stayed in touch. So I reached out to him, and he agreed to put together the at-home stuff, right? And the at-home guides he has are, really, really great for just overall, strength conditioning and balance and flexibility and all of it. Like, they are challenging,
Mm-hmm.
right? And he has a bunch on there as well, right? But you get the same thing, right? So you finally get it up there, it's there, and there are kids. There's kids using it, right? We're fortunate we have kids literally on every single continent almost, that are like using the Blueprint Athletes app, which is pretty cool.
It's really cool. Yeah.
It's pretty cool to think about. But right, I still get kids that'll be like, oh, the at-home stuff, it's way too easy for me, way too easy. Like, we even had a kid at Grand Ledge that kept saying like, oh, I'm like, why haven't you been lifting? He's like, well, I don't have access to a weight room. I was like, why don't you just do the at-home weight rooms or at-home strength conditioning stuff? Man, that stuff's not gonna get me better. It's too easy. Dude, I literally put him through it. He couldn't even get through. I was just like, dude, you didn't even try, did you?
Right.
Literally, he couldn't. He was like dying at the end, like dying. I'm like, it's supposed to be done in a circuit. So you do one after another. Let's say there are 7 workouts. They're always in order. All the workouts are in order. So you just have to follow the order. So you go through the 7, you take 1 to 2 minutes rest, and then you go through again, right? And it's a circuit, and you do that like 3 to 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
the kid couldn't even get through 3, and we were on the beginner. I'm like, I couldn't even imagine going to the advanced.
All right.
Like you would die, kid, if you went to the advanced, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you have to build up that strength, and that strength will easily translate over to, making you stronger, like, in the weight room. But the idea that, you need to be lifting weights to get stronger, to get better, is not necessarily true, right?
Yeah.
And Mike put together, and, he knows a lot more about this than I do, but, he put together some fantastic guides, right? So kids just can't have an excuse. Like, you can get better at home. Like, even if you didn't have a basketball, right, you can get better in your bedroom or in your basement, right, with those at-home strength conditioning guides, period. You can,
Yeah.
period. And that's another thing, like, back to the basketball stuff, like, kids will say things like, oh, well, I don't have access to a hoop or whatever. I'm like, all right, do the dribbling and passing. Like, if you want to get better, there are ways, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you do need a ton of work on your shooting. But if you don't have access to a hoop for whatever reason, because maybe it's, you live in a state that snows or gets really cold and you can't go outside and gym time is, hard to come by, dude, do the dribbling. There's literally like over 100 dribbling drills,
Yeah.
on the app.
Yeah.
Like, you can't tell me you have. I'm like, I don't know a kid. I know very few kids that have like a ton of those like mastered. They're just like, you see them doing, it's just like, man, that's textbook.
All right.
Like, that's it right there. Like, you're not. So I try to tell kids all the time, like, you're not so good at it that you still don't need to work at it. And then there are passing drills on there. Most kids are just horrible passers.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible passers. And if you're a bad passer, you can't be a good teammate to me, right? Because you throw bad passes, they lead to turnovers, they lead to players not being open anymore.
Yep.
They lead to, missed shots because you have to reach and, get off you're in a straight line going to the basket. Someone passes you the ball, it's behind you, right? You have to reach back, grab it, you're off balance, and then you have to finish. I'm not saying that you shouldn't get to the point eventually where, bad passes don't affect you as much, but even the best shooter in the world, if I throw them horrible, horrible passes, their shooting percentages are going to go down.
All right.
I don't care who it is. I don't care. It could be like JJ Redick. I don't care. If I throw him horrible passes, it's going to affect him versus me just throwing him a solid pass with good spin, to his chest area. It will. So kids that, think that they're above, working on their dribbling at home, working on their passing, like, it's just nonsense, right? So another big thing with Blueprint Athletes app is just, changing the mentality, changing the culture.
Mm-hmm.
These kids, because I've seen it myself, right, they're capable of so much more than they're doing, right? And the amount of time that they're putting in. And for whatever reason, they don't think that, them putting in the time consistently doing, the right things, right, is going to make them better. But it's just not true. It will. They'll get better. Like, to a person, all the kids that, we've worked with and all the drills that we use, when we train kids are on the Blueprint Athletes app.
Yep.
To a person, all the kids that have been consistent have gotten better. To a person.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like we're only working with kids who are like, oh man, the kid's always been really good. Like, we have very few kids like that.
Right.
Like 2 or 3 kids like that. The rest of them were kids that coaches were kind of like, no, these kids are not, no, they're never going to play, or
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why they would come out for the team. Like, it's proven with, kids like that. And that's any kid. That's every kid. Like, if you're willing to put in the time, if you're willing to be consistent, you will improve. Bottom line.
Yeah.
Right? But it's changing the culture, changing the mentality. Like, kids need to hold themselves accountable and understand, like, hey, like, my development is on me. Like, don't be fully reliant on a trainer or a parent or a coach so you can have that excuse, well, I didn't have a trainer. Oh, well, my trainer was busy. Or, oh, my coach never wants to work with us. Or, oh, my parents don't do this or that. Dude, with the Blueprint Athletes app, you can literally take your development into your own hands.
Yeah.
Right? So then it just becomes about how badly do you want it?
It's testing your character.
To a certain extent, it's testing how badly you want to be good, right?
Mm-hmm.
All these kids will say they want to be good. They'll say they want to play college basketball. They'll say they want to be all state. They'll say they want to be all conference or whatever. but do your actions line up with that? Like, you don't have an excuse. You don't. Like, if you want to put the time in and get better, put the time in and get better,
Mm-hmm.
right? Here's the structure, right? And on the guides that are labeled, beginner through advanced, we have the beginner guide, which is like a combination of, basketball skills. And we have beginner dribbling guide, which is obviously mostly focused on dribbling.
Mm-hmm.
And then not just beginner, but we have the overall guides, right? Then we have the dribbling guides. Then we have the shooting guides. Then we have like the post footwork type guides, right? And all of those are progressive. So the skills all build on top of each other. All right. So when you start at beginner, it gives you the skills to, build up and move to that next week or that next month or that next guide. Right. So you master it. It's building up a foundation. Right. So the kids who are like always trying to skip to advanced, dude, they're missing out.
Mm-hmm.
It's, even if you mastered like just the beginner stuff, you would be you'd be like a really good basketball player if you had the beginner stuff, just the beginner stuff mastered. Like, you just have it down,
Yeah.
super smooth, right? Doing everything the right way, the proper footwork, consistently getting up shots, like good form, all that. Like, you would be a really good basketball player. But so many kids are like so caught up in appearances, and it's just like, oh well, yeah, I'm on advanced. It's
Yeah,
like,
beginner. I mean,
it's like, dude, if you don't get your ass to beginner and master that, like, I'm gonna smack you.
you might have to change the name.
Dude.
Level 1 or something.
Dude, I know some other people have told me that too, just because, like, but dude, it's just such a weak-minded thing.
It
Like,
is.
dude, get over that.
Yeah.
You have to get over that.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously, it's so frustrating to see these delusional kids, just delusional, and it's like frustrating just because I want them to succeed, right? I want them to accomplish their goals. I don't want them to have those regrets that kids come to us every year with. Oh, you were right. Oh, I should have put more time in. Like, oh, I thought I was going to be all state, and I thought I was going to be all conference, and
Oh yeah.
why I never got those scholarship offers. Like, maybe I should have put it. It's like, yeah, I know. That's why I've been telling you since you were in 8th grade.
Didn't listen.
Didn't listen, dude. But it's just sad.
Yeah, it is.
It's literally, it's just like, I don't want kids to go through that. And your goal doesn't even have to be all conference or all state or whatever, even leading scorer on your team. It could just be to just be better at basketball so you can contribute and you can have more fun. Or
Right.
even if you just wanted to get better at basketball so you could play pickup, and be competitive, like in a men's league or in a rec league or in a church league or whatever it may be, right? There's nothing wrong. Like, you don't have to have like aspirations of going pro or going to college, or it could just be, I just want to be a better basketball player. I just want to be stronger.
All right.
Like, even if you, like, I mean, I obviously in my world, it's like I like the balance of the basketball and the strength conditioning stuff. But even if you went in and just did the strength conditioning stuff, like, so many people go in the weight room and have no idea what they're doing and just walk around. It's like, oh, I'm gonna do a couple curls over here, and I'm gonna grab this machine, and I just watched that guy do that, and I'm gonna try to do some of this. And it's just like, dude, going into the weight room and having a plan, right? Especially a plan that like builds and is progressive and is structured, like, and it's a proven type thing. Like, go look at you can literally go to like John Sanderson's website, which is like Camp Sanderson, or like if you go to University of Michigan and you see like the befores and afters on the wall, dude,
Crazy.
they're wild,
Yeah.
right?
They're
Dude,
crazy.
even me, like when I was going into college, I was 205 probably, 205. My freshman year, I gained like 35 pounds, right? Just that first year of just eating and consistently lifting for the first time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, it makes such a big difference. It's a huge difference, right? But you got to be willing to put in the time,
All right.
right? And I guess the other thing with the app that I want to touch on, before we wrap up is, parents who want to help their kids to get better. Because I know a ton of parents who will, go rebound for their kids or try to get their kids to do this or that, or say they want to help their kid get better, right? Because it's fun to be good at something,
Yeah.
right? It's fun to contribute. It's fun to make the team and to be a part of all that, right? So literally, parents can use the app to, train their kids. Train your kid right off the app. Like, you don't even have to have any basketball knowledge, right? You just have to be able to watch the video and to read,
All right.
right? That's pretty much it. The directions are in there, right? for every video, and then there's a short video clip. I guess we haven't really like talked about that because I've just kind of been all over the place. But there's like a video clip for every single. There's a video clip for every single drill, right? And then there's a description for every single drill, and then for almost all the drills, except for the dribbling drills right now, there are ways to record and track. So you can track your shooting. So everything on the app is make based. So if it's like you need 10 makes, then you put in how many misses, and then it tracks your percentages for each drill. And then it tracks your percentages overall for like, finishing at the rim, in the paint, jumpers, free throws, threes, something we call range finder, which is like you shooting at multiple distances. So it'd be like shooting mid-range and shooting threes. It'd be a range finder percentage. So you can see what your percentages are. You can see what your weaknesses are, right? You can keep track of that stuff over time, right? Through the app. You can keep track of your weights on strength conditioning.
Yeah, parents and coaches should love this app.
Yes. And there are, and that's the thing. I mean, there are lots of parents, lots of coaches, lots of kids like using the app.
Yeah.
But at the same time, right, I want it to be something that's not like stigmatized in the sense that, coaches a lot of times are like, oh, like I want things to be my way. It's like, dude, see this as something that could benefit your program, because what I've seen from the majority of coaches, and I've been around so many coaches, they don't have that much time to put in, right, with their players in terms of skill development. Yeah. Like something like this, especially with, the new version of the app that's coming out, like coaches will be able to literally, if they wanted to, could go to our catalog, right? Or actually, I don't even know, is that the right word? Go to like our drill library, right? So go to like our drill library, select certain drills, like, oh, I really need my players to get better at this drill, this drill, this drill. And you can send it to an entire team, or you could send it to just like an individual player. I could be like, okay, I have guards, wings, bigs. These 3 drills I'm going to send to the bigs to do. These 3 go to the guards. These 3 go to the wings. Get these done before practice today. Like you have 20 minutes before practice, try to get them done, right? Or something like that. Or even in the off season, like, hey, like this is your workout plan for the week. Like you can go in and create that for your team, right? So it's a way to, have a little bit more control, if you don't want them following the guides that we have set up, right? And we have more guides than just the guides that we were talking about. We have over 50 guides on the app right now, and each guide is a month long. But if coaches or trainers or whatever wanted to go in and create their own guides for players and give them to them as like, a supplement to what they already do, dude, that works perfectly fine. Like I've talked to trainers about it, and they're like, oh, well, I don't want it to hurt my business. I'm like, dude, it's going to make your business better.
Right.
I was like, best case scenario, you're probably working with a kid 2 to 3 times a week. And they probably should be working out, and you probably tell them like, oh, you got to keep working on your own, Dude, this app is super cheap, and it's literally an opportunity for a trainer to be like, okay, well, and this is what I want you to do on these 2 days that you work out on your own. We're working 3 times a week, but on these 2 other days, I need you to do this drill, this drill, this drill. And on Thursday, I need you to do this drill, this drill, this drill. Saturday, I need you to do this drill, this drill, this drill. And you could send that to that individual, right, as a trainer. So it's a supplement to what you're doing, right? It's going to make you look better as a trainer. It's going to make that kid better. It's going to help them to, absorb the information more because they're reading it. They're watching the video, right? It's not just you telling them going through it and them trying to remember, right? Because a lot of times I remember I would ask kids like, what do you even work on with your trainer? Can you tell me? Like, what'd you work on yesterday with your trainer? Dude, and most kids struggle to recall that type of stuff, right? Yeah. Or if you had an app that had like all the videos and everything in there, with a history, it could be like, oh, okay, I did this, 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 and this, and this is how I shot, or I lifted, and this is how much weight I was doing.
Right.
Like, so you have a type of history. We can, and there's more to touch on with it. We're going a little long for what we normally do right now, but it's something that, super passionate about, and we truly believe, will change lives. You have anything else?
End the cycle. Download the app. Get to work.
Download the app, right? If you ever have any questions, you can always reach us at gmail@blueprint.athletes, or preferably message message us on Instagram, blueprint.athletes as well. We're happy to answer any questions, help in any way we can. Don't hesitate to reach out. This has been Blueprint Athletes Basketball Podcast.